Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here's me today. I have a diamond in the rough I'd like you to meet. This is Dante Chachere. He is a quarterback out of Portland State. How's it going, sir?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Cool. And again, I hopefully said that name correctly, right?
Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
Okay,
you got it.
good. I felt like I may have butchered it, but I mean, first go around was just fine. Cool, but Dante, I do feel like a lot of people need to get to know you. You're a great athlete. Playing quarterback there for Portland State. Came in hot with a whole lot of preseason accolades this season. And just got finished up there at Portland State and trying to get into this NFL draft thing. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll get going.
Yeah, Dante Chachere, like you said, out of Fresno, California, a Central Valley kid, youngest out of all my. I got four older brothers, so it was growing up. Had a. They always taught me a lesson. How to get everything out the rough. But then they always thought I was a spoiled one because I was the youngest. But I'm like, man, it doesn't work like that.
I don't know. I'll leave that to other people to debate. Um, but yeah, so I have in my notes attended Clovis West High School out of Fresno, along with basketball, along with football, did some basketball as well as some track and field. But before we get started about some high school stuff, share with me how long have you played football?
Uh, I would say I started when I was in third grade, so I was like 9 years old. Been playing since then.
So have you always played quarterback?
A little bit of everything when I started, and then I think once I got to like the elementary years, fifth, sixth, it was just QB from there on out.
Gotcha. And sometimes I feel like especially in high school, you pretty much take like your most athletic guy, that being yourself. You put him under center and you just allow him to work. And sometimes that's what you do. That's what you
Yeah,
get out of guys like you. So uh, you know, again, attended Clovis West High School. Did a whole lot of other sports. Talk to me about you as a high school athlete who was a standout in several sports.
yeah. Always grew up playing all the sports, and I kept wanting to do that in high school. Football was the main sport, but as soon as that was over, I was out in the basketball court, and then as soon as that was over, I was out in track and field. I just liked showing the athletic ability, and then even in middle school, I was on the golf team, so I tried to do a little bit of everything.
Well, hey, it works.
Yeah,
So I want to say again, standout basketball player. Your profile had listed you as like a defensive MVP on the court,
hmm
and standout track athlete, which I actually just found out before we got on this
yeah,
thing. Um, Really good long jumper, 20 over 23 feet, 23.65 in the long jump, which is an outstanding number. Um, Talk to me a little bit about these different sports and maybe how there's perhaps a different approach and or maybe if they've helped you as a football player. Just kind of talk through some of that mentality.
yeah. Definitely a different approach than from football to basketball. I feel like in high school, whenever I was on the basketball court, I had like zero nerves. Like I wasn't nervous at all. Because probably because there wasn't people trying to hit me every play. But um, same with the track. That one is a little nervous because I was a long jumper, so I was out there by myself out there. But then again, it was just that different approach of, especially in track. It's all on me, it's myself. But then, transitioning to the basketball court, having a team kind of correlates. Smaller team than football, but it correlates to having those guys around you. But I always like the team aspect, having the guys around you. So I feel like that's why I always liked football and basketball the most.
Yeah, I mean, you had mentioned again, just a little bit of the nerves.
hmm
And I obviously, you had mentioned, hey, there's not people chasing you around trying to kill you in
Yeah,
some of those other sports. but it again, it's a different mindset. You do have a lot of eyes on you as a quarterback, as a guy,
Hmm.
who has to go out there. This is the last heat. You got to go out there. You have to
Yeah.
make your jump. You have to not fault, which is
Mhm.
probably the worst thing you can do as a
Yeah.
track guy. And
Right.
so you always have it in your head. I got to jump like right before I get to that spot.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so pursued the game of football, and you ended up getting recruited as such, I would hope, right? No one gave you any options to do some of the others, or how was the recruiting overall?
My basketball coach would always ask, like, "Hey, you still gonna play basketball? I could get you some looks." And I was like, I'm just gonna stick with football." And then kind of
Fair
started
enough.
getting those. Yeah.
Well, but anyways, you're coming out of Clovis West. Um, Obviously ended up at Portland. What were some of the options that you had coming out of high school, and why did you ultimately choose Portland State?
Yeah, I had a offer as an athlete to Nevada, and then some of the schools that would come by would ask what position I was going to play, quarterback or receiver, and then they kind of determined off of that. But Portland State was one of the schools to offer me as a quarterback, and I was like, well, here's my opportunity if I want to keep playing quarterback. So I just couldn't pass that one up.
Yeah, and let's just face it, it's very hard for a high school quarterback to give that up and to do something else. I've already
Right.
talked to several guys who had to do that, transitioning from high school to college.
Mm-hmm.
Works out for some, but hey, if you can continue to be the man, I mean, why not?
Yeah,
Someone's going to give you the opportunity. It works. Talk about
definitely.
Portland State, man. What makes that university so special for you?
Yeah, it's the part that it's so like it's a smaller community, so I feel like everyone is connected in some sort of way. Um, like we don't have like the super big campus like with everyone like a football town, but within the city limits, downtown and everything, I feel like we get that opportunity to be the only football team around here. So I feel like that aspect, and then just the program itself, like Neil Lomax, some of the other guys that have come through. There's a rich history with the football program here.
Cool. And you're growing up in Fresno. I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe you were a LeBron fan. I don't know if that's the case or not, but you know, uh, I don't know. You tell me, who are you a big fan of? As a kid, whether it be somebody, obviously in football or in some other sport, who would that be for you?
Definitely a LeBron fan, without
That
a
was just
doubt.
a guess. I didn't know which way that would go. So
Yeah, no, definitely LeBron fan. Crazy. I used to watch, like old school highlights. Like my dad would put on Randall Cunningham highlights, and I used to see him running and jumping. And I'm like, hey, I can do the same thing. It's kind of like me. So I feel like growing up, watching those kind of made me keep wanting to play football and be just like that one too.
I mean, guys like Randall Cunningham, I know that takes people back to like the 80s, early 90s. He was a freak. He was a freak of an athlete. Maybe even before his time,
Hmm.
during that era, where there was a lot of people who were really trying to force certain athletes to maybe do some other position. Which,
Hmm.
why would you do that? Again, when you have the skills of a guy like Randall Cunningham, he's a
Yeah.
you're talking about an all pro. I mean, you're talking about one of the best ever. So, let him do his thing. um,
Right.
and so obviously growing up, watching guys like him, maybe perhaps wanting to become a guy like Michael Vick, again, outstanding athlete, just like yourself. And bro, you came into this year, very hot with a whole lot of preseason accolades, named to Bruce Feldman's freaks list.
Hmm.
And I think I don't know exactly how what they thought so much about you, but I mean, we're talking at a guy who can obviously jump. So
Yeah.
maybe that's probably where that comes from. A guy who I know has an amazing vert, can do a great broad jump, and maybe
Mhm.
that's where that comes from. But what do you feel about these accolades that you were given early in the season?
Yeah, it was definitely an honor. But I always look at it like a preseason accolade. It doesn't really have too much effect because you still got to go out through the season and play. But definitely being on those lists made me feel like okay, I've done some sort of impact in the past. So just continuing on that.
Gotcha. So let's talk about that offense there at Portland State. Again, uh, quarterback, running a whole lot of RPO. I think a lot of people are doing that these days. And as I look at you as a quarterback, the one thing that I view is I look at a guy who can extend plays. I look at a guy who, very elusive when he's given the
Mhm.
opportunity to really take off, in that system. But talk to me about you as a quarterback overall there at Portland State. Maybe even describe some of that offense.
Yeah, like you said, being able to extend the plays, the uncertainty of plays is what I feel like I excel in and give the defense a hard time because it's you can line up versus offense and be like, all right, they're going to run this, and the play breaks down, and then I'm scrambling, and then defense is in a panic. So I feel like that aspect, having the free reign for me, being a 3-year starter, coaches kind of gave me some leeway on checks and being able to call my own thing when I see out there. I feel like that was a good thing. And then, like you said, the R.P.O world is a whole new world with a read option as well. A quarterback like me that can run, you got 3 options now for the defense to have to deal with. Me running, throwing, and then the running back. So I feel like that always gives the defense a hard time.
So, Dante, obviously highlighting your athleticism. A lot of people may want to uh, I don't know, shift you to some other position. And so I kind of want to get your take on it, your approach. If there's anything that you've maybe expecting to do or training to do, but enlighten me.
Yeah, definitely not not gonna overlook anything because of my athletic ability, but I've been playing quarterback, like I said, since I was third, fourth grade. So it's like I feel like I deserve it to myself to keep going on along that path, but also not gonna overlook the opportunity to be able to show my athletic ability as a dual threat or just like an offensive weapon at the next level.
Gotcha. I mean, hey, there have been some guys who have been collegiate quarterbacks who have made a position switch, whether it be running back, wide receiver, or even on the defensive side of
Yeah,
things. And I don't know if that's something that I don't know if anyone even asked you like to maybe like hey hell let's make him the quarterback of the defense. Has anyone even mentioned that at all or no?
I think one team had just because my brother plays defense in the NFL and then my dad's played, so they just kind of threw it out there like, "Hey, have you ever played defense?" I'm like, it's been a long time."
Well, hey, I mean, obviously we have a guy that is the leader of that program. I mean, as the quarterback, you are kind of like a default leader out there. And so, if you did go out there on defense, at the very least, I know that you, go out there and study that,
Yeah,
side. So, I mean,
right.
you at the very least know how these guys are lining up.
Hmm.
Um, Dante, I do want to kind of walk through some of the highlights of your career. Again, just recently finishing up. When you look back at your career, what are your maybe favorite moments, games, plays? Walk me through a couple of those.
Definitely off the top of my head would be this past year we had played at Sac State, and it was the first time my brother actually was able to watch me play my whole college career. And I was like telling everyone that whole week, I'm like, hey, if my brother comes to this game, I'm about to have a crazy game. And they're like, oh, yeah, I hope so. And he showed up. And then sure enough, I had 240 passing, 160 rushing, and 5 touchdowns, and we blew him out. And then, that was just an awesome moment for him. He was going crazy in the stands, running up and down the bleachers and all that. So that was one of my favorite moments.
Wow. And this was this season against
Yeah,
Sacramento State.
yeah.
And, you're surrounded in the Big Sky by a hell of a lot of talent.
Hmm.
Um, Guys that you get pitted up against really the best in the country. All these fantastic teams in California, the
Hmm.
Montanas
Right.
out there, who are really beating you up, who you're running away from because they're always
Hmm.
in your face. Talk about that competition, and maybe why people are sleeping on you for going up against like some of the
Yeah.
best guys out there.
Yeah. No, I feel like the Big Sky is, some people we call it the SEC of the FCS. It's one of the top leagues. They always have like 4 to 5 teams in the playoffs from the Big Sky. So it's like the competition is always going to be there. With the Montanas and all that. That's great teams. A bottom team in the Big Sky can win versus a top team. It's on any Sunday. Any team can win basically in the Big Sky. So that competition level going against each of those teams it's not an easy task. Like you said, like people running in my face, every day, every game day. But just having the competition level, I feel like can definitely boost somebody.
So, with that being said, Dante, obviously you playing against a lot of great competition, but I mean, of course, this particular season didn't really turn out exactly the way that you wanted.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously not in the playoffs and everything, and you see everybody else, in the playoffs right now. With some of the games, maybe perhaps not going the way that you wanted. How were you able to stay motivated, man? Like, what's your biggest motivator when things aren't necessarily going the way that they should be going?
Everything just keeps moving. You can't dwell on something too much. That's something even us as captains we try to tell to the team that like, all right, we just lost a game. That game's over. You watch the film Sunday, Monday. It's you got to move on to the next week. You can't think about it because then it might hinder your game the next week. Just being able to put that next foot forward and just keep on working, is always a big thing. I always try to think to myself.
Yeah, I mean, and you just have to keep going sometimes,
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
regardless of the situation. So, um, Dante, you had some great teammates over the years. Do you want to give a shout out to some of those guys who have been maybe, I don't know, the most impressive teammates that you've had over the years? Maybe some guys currently and some guys in the past.
Yeah, in the past, couple of guys, my first year starting, I had some good receivers, good offensive line. Tyson Pauling, he was a veteran center. He actually works at PSU now, so it's kind of crazy seeing him that I played with. Now he works here. Bo Kelly, receiver, he was killing the Big Sky. Even this year, I got some young. It was a young team. Quincy Craig, running back, put him in the backfield, put him out wide. A couple transfer guys from last year, Jermaine Braddock this year. Brandon Alvarez from San Jose. He was a gritty guy. I was trusted throwing the ball down in the middle. He would always catch. Um, yeah, some of the guys, and then before I was starting, guys like Davis Alexander kind of set that stone, and then I was able to take over.
And what's that team going to look like next year? With you moving on, like who's going to be the next guy? Is the starting quarterback already on that roster or what?
It'll be interesting. They got some guys definitely that can step up and take the role, but like I said, it was a young team this year, so I feel like it's a lot of guys got experience in that aspect. So I feel like they can keep on rolling.
Gotcha. Certainly something to look forward to. When we're looking into next season. Um, uh, Dante, really a lot of people you talked about there, a lot of good teammates. Who perhaps has been the most influential person for you in your journey? You talked about coming from an athletic family, and having a whole lot of great teammates. Who is that person or people for you?
Yeah, a lot of people influence here and there, family wise. I would say, my brother. Obviously, he plays for the Cardinals right now. It's his 7th year in the league, and he's bounced around from team to team. So I feel like those conversations with him um, just let me know, like nothing's guaranteed, nothing's gonna be handed out to you, and just keep working. That's where I kind of got that mentality from because it's like you never know what's gonna happen next, and just stay ready so you don't have to get ready. It's a mentality thing, being able to, whatever your name is called, step up to the plate. Yeah,
Gotcha. Well, Dante, appreciate meeting you as a player. Do you want to meet the guy off the field, the guy under the helmet? So, anything you want to share about yourself? Any fun facts? You have any special talents? Maybe some hobbies we can talk about, man. Talk about you. Talk about what you feel people need to know about Dante Chachere,
yeah,
other than being a very athletic quarterback.
yeah. Favorite hobby, golfing. If I can get on the golf course, I'm definitely gonna be there no matter what. If it's a bad weather day, but other than that, I'm gonna be out there on the golf course. It's just relaxing for me, being able to go out there and swing the clubs with some guys. Outside of that, I did some volunteering out here in Portland with the Bald Face Truth organization. They they give back to some of they have camps with the special needs kids, and they have the football players, basketball play programs come through, and it's like a week long deal that the kids love. They look up to us, and I love doing that. My mom, when she was back in Fresno, she was a special ed teacher, and I used to go to her classroom all the time. And then I would always love being around the kids. So being able to give back in those regards, I always jump on that opportunity because I just love being able to see their faces brighten up when they see us out there.
Gotcha. Uh, Finishing up your time there for the Portland State Vikings, but I'm sure somewhere along the line, I don't know if you've already gotten your degree, if you're working on your master's or whatever that situation is. Can you enlighten me about your academic achievements there?
Yeah, I already got my undergrad degree in communications, and then I was taking some classes in some media marketing departments. Hopefully, I like to be a broadcast. I feel like talking about sports is once you play it all the time, it's like sitting at the lunch table in high school. You just going back and forth. I feel like that's the next step.
I mean, for a guy who's virtually played almost every sport, I mean, it does make
Mhm.
things easy to talk through all those things.
Right. Yeah.
So you see yourself maybe down the line, maybe hopefully being like in broadcasting. Is that you said that's kind of the goal more or less?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay. Uh Dante, I want to throw some rapid fire fun questions for you,
Mhm.
just maybe some favorites or whatever. Um so favorite superhero.
Ooh. I'm gonna go with Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Nice. How about you are going to the movie theater. What's that one movie theater treat that you're always picking up?
Ooh, besides popcorn, that's like you have to get popcorn. Besides that, I'm gonna get some peanut M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms. Okay, good. Uh, so let me see if I could find some more here. Um, Favorite breakfast cereal.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
All right. Like I get that from a lot of people.
Yeah,
I actually had some of that this morning.
there you go. You look.
It's kind of nice. Um, uh, do you perhaps have any, I don't know, special talents like speaking a language, play an instrument? Can you do anything that maybe not everybody knows?
uh, I don't. I don't think I got anything up my sleeve on that one.
Well, I mean, I know you're of your last name. You do come from a Creole sort of background, and so I don't know. I didn't know if perhaps like you knew a little Creole or something.
No.
Uh, okay. I was just curious. With
Yeah.
that kind of being in, part of your heritage, is that something that you see every so often, like in a home cooked meal or something? Like, is that something that you can share?
Every once in a while, sometimes my aunt, my dad's sister, will come down. She came down a couple Thanksgivings ago, and like everything she cooked, I had like never had it like that before, and I was like, whoa. So yeah.
So is it hitting you like with the spice, or is it hitting you just
Yeah,
because it's completely different?
a little bit of spice, a little bit of different. Like some of I think it was like a mac and cheese, some stuff in there. I'm like, I never had all this in here before.
What, like jalapeno or something? Is
It
that
was like it was like bacon and there was some other spices in there. I'm like, whoa, this is a different type of mac and cheese.
okay? As we are coming into Thanksgiving, what's your favorite Thanksgiving side dish? As we're talking
Uh,
about,
yeah. Oof.
it's not
I'm
that
gonna either
mac and cheese, apparently.
I'm gonna have to go with the yams, sweet yams.
All right, that works.
Yeah.
Uh, it's karaoke night, and I'm handing the microphone to you. What are you singing for the masses?
Oof. Let's see. Probably um gotta be a gotta be a song, everyone can sing to. I can't do like a new song because then they'll just be staring at me weird. I'll probably go. No, I'm an old soul. I feel like I'm gonna go Computer Love by
Okay.
Zap Rock.
All right. Well, whatever you can get yourself through, because it didn't
Yeah,
sound necessarily like something that you'd jump at the opportunity to do.
yeah,
So, um, you have an opportunity to meet a celebrity, whether it be an actor, musician, or athlete. Who is that person for you? Who would you love an opportunity to meet?
probably go with LeBron James.
Of course, we already mentioned it. It was like
Yeah.
very first thing at the gate that we
Uh-huh.
talked about. Um, all right, Dante. I think that kind of is wrapping things up for us. I mean, I was sitting here thinking, how many rapid fire questions can I give you? But I think you've gone through most of them. Obviously, talking to you from the platform of a guy who really wants to get to the next level, wants to play some pro ball. And as we wrap things up, talk to all the scouts out there. Tell them what they'd be getting if they took a chance on you. Give them your pitch. Go for it.
Yeah, definitely getting a hard worker is always gonna put his best foot forward and try to outwork the person next to him. Like stated before, tremendous athlete, dual threat, offensive weapon in that aspect, can get the job done and whatever needs to be done.
Yeah, tremendous athlete. We've already talked about it. According to Bruce Feldman, he is a freak uh, and can do a whole lot of things. Is an exciting player to watch. Dante, I want to wish you all the best moving forward, and you take care. Okay.
Thank you.
Again, I got with me Dante Chachere, quarterback, Portland State. Check him out.